Hello, everyone. Welcome to Doctor Who and Autism celebrations. And in today's episode, it's going to be a little bit of a different start to the episode because we're actually going to be reacting to the Doctor Who trailer presented by Disney Plus. And today's guest, Ethan, who was on the podcast last year, sharing his story with Crohn's and talking about Doctor Who. And yeah, before we do any introductions, I'm just gonna play the trailer and yeah, we'll press play and we can watch it.
After a very long time. Something's coming back.
What do we do this time, Doctor? How do we fight the human race?
I had to wipe her memory to save her life. Like if she remembers me, she will die. Something entered this world.
She is recognizing me.
Who is he?
The one who waits. I don't know if I can save your life this time.
Open fire! Your fight is with me!
There we go. What did we think of that, Ethan?
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I'm pumped.
Yeah. What did you think about it? It's quite a little bit different to the one we got, like the one we got, like the UK one.
Yeah, I recognised, or at least thought there were a couple new shots, including one that I don't want to speculate, but that shot of the now confirmed Celestial Toymaker running towards the camera laughing. We can see a ginger woman in the background in a white blazer, and that building looks like the same one we've seen in other clips for Unit. I've got a theory, considering that she's back for Shutty's era, that's Mel Bush.
Yeah.
That's my theory. That's the thing that struck me the most there. But yeah, I mean, you can tell Disney's put an amount of budget in it. It's beautiful looking.
Yeah, it's so good. It's awesomely good because
Yeah.
Disney. I mean, we won't be able to watch it because it's only for everyone else. But but I do like the trailer. It's interesting how they called it Doctor Who original specials.
Yeah.
That's a
Well,
bit.
there has been a little speculation I saw on Twitter. That was the first time I'd seen the trailer, but I knew that it had come out because there were some people. There was an announcement still or something. I'm not sure where. Basically, on Disney Plus, anyone outside of basically anyone that watches on Disney Plus, there won't be seasons 1 to 13 of the revival available. So some people are either speculating or worried that this is going to be like a new fresh start, similar to how it was with Eccleston's series back in 2005.
Yeah, because I read today that Disney Plus will not be putting any of the previous episodes. It's from the specials onwards that they're doing.
Yeah.
Which I guess it'll be a bit different for people if they wanted the all one there. But they can't because I don't know. But at least they got it. At least they can watch Doctor Who when it's out.
Yeah, exactly.
And we don't have to worry about if it's out there and we want to share something on social media afterwards. We won't have to worry about not putting anything on.
Exactly.
Just blame BBC Doctor Who if you do. Because as we know, when the Doctor Who episode goes out on Twitter or X, whatever we call it, that it's a commentary. It's a commentary when Doctor Who episodes are on. The account are commentating everything that's going on the whole episode.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a splurge of everyone's thoughts and opinions, which I mean is fine. I get it. It's exciting, but I feel bad for people that have to work shifts or whatever, and then click on their phone and go, "Oh, I'll just see what's on Twitter." Bam, spoilers right there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one that I'm not on my phone when Doctor Who's on.
Yeah. Mine's off in the corner.
I mean, it's on silent. It's on sleep mode, so I won't get anything. And then, but the thing is, I get sent all these things. I will get sent like this person returning, this person gonna be an episode. But yeah, it just reminds me of a football match. Like
Yeah,
all the football accounts do that. But I guess they want people to react. But I guess people do that, when they're watching the episode, they're on their phone on Twitter, and they're replying to all the tweets that's going on. And then those tweet alongs. I never did get them personally,
yeah,
because I would watch an episode and not be on my phone.
yeah. I love the little behind the scenes tidbits they gave us, but I tried joining in on a few, and it was because they'd have special accounts where, oh, this is Matt Smith tweeting, this is David Tennant, Billy Piper, whoever, and I'd have the notifications on, obviously, so whenever they went off, and it was quite, even though I've already seen the episodes, it was every other 2 minutes. The phone would vibrate or buzz or the screen would flash or whatever. The new tweet. So I used to just wait till the episode was done and then scroll through.
Yeah,
Be like that.
I was the same, and I mean, I don't know about you, but every time an episode starts, you just feel like all this time we've waited for, like, they'll go fast. The episode goes really
Yeah.
fast when you've watched it.
Yeah.
And we know that's going to happen when we watch the specials.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, they'll end as soon as that.
Yeah. No matter how good or how terrible they are, obviously, please don't be terrible. Everyone will have a little feeling of, oh, that's it then. That's it,
Yeah.
done. But that's what happens to everything. It happens with Christmases, it happens with birthdays. As soon as it ends, just go, oh, that was it.
Yeah. I mean, we don't want it to end, but as we know, like, it has to at some
Yeah.
point. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, I guess, because, like, as we said before we started this, like, it's funny because me and Ethan, we've rearranged this. I think this is our third time.
This is our third shot at it, yeah.
Yeah, our third try of it, and we got there.
Yes.
We got there in the end, but it's a good job all those times stuff did happen, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to talk about what or something that we're going to talk about today. Like, because a spin-off got announced moments before we're here. Like, it weren't even that long ago, about maybe like 30 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Our time of recording. So it's a good job we picked a certain time of recording. If any earlier, we wouldn't be able to talk about it. But yeah, so the Tales of the Tardis is going to be like a mini series, which will be aired, which is very complicated. It will air in 2 days' time, but for anyone listening, it's already out there. We've already watched it.
You'll have already seen it. You'll have already loved it, hated it, burned it.
Yeah.
But for us, it's new.
Yeah. So if you are watching it, this may be the first time you heard of it. So Tales of the TARDIS. Yeah. What are your thoughts? Like, what do you think of it, Ethan?
I'm very, very excited. I'm someone, when we first spoke, I was someone that was always interested in Classic Who, and had seen quite a bit of Classic Who, but I was still very unaware. And since we've spoken, I haven't seen all of it. I'm waiting for them all to get put on iPlayer before I give that a try properly. But I've seen much more of it since then, and I know much more about it since we last spoke. So the fact that we're getting it, not because at first I saw the pictures they announced of Peter Davison and Janet Fielding together, or Colin and Nicola, or Fraser Hines and Wendy Padbury, whoever. And I just thought, oh, this is part of that documentary that was announced that David Tennant's doing. or maybe this is a promotional photo shoot for Classic Who being put on iPlayer because the background has some New Who references, stuff like that. And then I read the captions and reports on Twitter from trusted sources, full trusted sources, and when we see that, from what I think, they're about 90 minutes worth of new stories. This isn't just Sylvester McCoy and Sophie Aldred sitting there talking about, oh well, when we film Remembrance of the Daleks, this is the actual characters reuniting and talking about episodes like Curse of Fenric, Earthshock, the Time Meddler. And as someone who's a bit of a Classic Who nut now, I'm very, very excited. Very, very, very excited. We were discussing before this whether we think they're stuck in a room as part of the TARDIS or whether they're traveling. I think they're stuck as part of the TARDIS just because of how many pieces of the set in the photos look like chunks of New Who consoles, like Matt and David's. But there will be some timey-wimey science fiction reason for how they're both together in the one room again, how they're both older. I'm beyond excited. I really can't wait, especially because McCoy and Aldred are talking about Curse of Fenric, which is one of my favorite episodes of any TV show I've watched. I'm very, very excited.
Well, to anyone who maybe not to give any spoilers, but to anyone to have seen your favorite episode, what is the kind of storyline with that? Like what?
Yeah.
How would you say that?
I'll try not to get into spoilers, but I do. But from what I can read of these minisodes, if you what I mean, I'm saying this like you probably haven't already seen it at this point, but there will probably be spoilers within these new minisodes about the episodes they're talking about. The Curse of Fenric was one of the last episodes of Doctor Who before it got cancelled in 1989. Seventh Doctor and Ace arrive at a World War II British military camp where a certain scientist, Dr. Judson, is trying to crack a code to figure out any more advancements they can make on winning the war against the Germans. While this is going on, there are two different forces planning on attacking, not the Germans, but there is a troop of Russian spies and soldiers who are trying to infiltrate. And then along with that, the more exciting bit, in my opinion, is that this military camp is at an old Viking burial ground in a quiet little town at a place called Maiden's Point. And very famously etched into the carvings of the graves and the basements of the church is the story of Fenric, an ancient Viking god who the Doctor has known off screen before any of these events take place. And through this military code, Fenric comes back and resurrects and spreads an infection from the Viking corpses to create aliens called hemovores, which literally, if you haven't seen it, go on YouTube or watch the episode. The amazing clips of the blue bubbling vampire zombie things rising from the sea, and the Doctor being the only man who knows how to stop Fenric since he's already done it, but still having to keep his secrets from Ace. It is a very dark story, and it's one that terrified me as a child, and it's one that the older I get, the more I love it. It's one that it's really unique. It's really, really different.
I'll have to I think I'll have, if the episode is called that, I will watch that first. I think the episode because I mean you have to, don't you?
Yeah.
I haven't watched any. The only episode I've watched of Classic Who is Unearthly Child.
I mean, it's the first one. It's one that everyone should give a go. Yeah.
Yeah. And I wanted to watch the others, but I mean, I got bored because it was in black and white, and I think that to us at this generation, maybe it's not back in the days where you couldn't do anything about it, but in this generation now, I think I like a bit of thing about autism. Like me personally, I just get distracted easily. I'll be on my phone or something if I don't like it. And I mean, it's not that I don't like it. I think it was a really good story, but it was just the black and white drifted me away. Everything color, I think I'd be more interested.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot of people I know that have the same thing. Just in general, I'm a bit. I was someone that was, when I was very young, shown black and white movies like King Kong, or as you can see behind me, a poster of black and white horror movies like Dracula and Frankenstein. I found those quite young, so I was someone that difference in color didn't really bother me. I've always found older movies and TV shows with less budget and more restrictions oddly quite charming, because at least underneath the bubble wrap and wobbly sets you can see what they're really going for. And with today's budget, it would be a much different story. But I do get that black and white can be a struggle. That you know, there's no shame or judgment in that at all. But I'm not going to act like I've seen all of Hartnell and Troughton's here. Unfortunately, I've still only seen a couple from each. But from what I've watched, they are very, very, very good. Especially episodes like The Enemy of the World and the Aztecs and the Dalek invasion of Earth, stuff like that.
yeah. I mean, yeah. It's all it's all going to be really good this month because I get to watch it all.
Yeah.
I guess we're not going to be able to watch the whole of the Classic Q era in a short pace of time before the 25th of November, which is of course the first day. And yeah, actually, Ethan is the first guest on the series to actually know the air dates.
Yes.
So that is funny.
One of our attempts to record this was the day they revealed dates of 25th November, 2nd of December, and 9th of December.
Yeah.
And those gorgeous posters, where I think they're really trying to sell the new Sonic Screwdriver, because every poster they've released for this new era, David's holding it in every picture, which I'm not complaining about. It's a gorgeous Sonic, but still, they're really, really, really proud of it.
So you've seen in every one of those posters for each of the specials, David Tennant is doing the same thing with his hand.
Yes, he is.
I mean, and on one of them, I think it was Wild Blue Yonder. It looks like a retro version of BB-8 from Star Wars.
Yes, for me, I've been described by a few people as an old soul, and this will be another thing to really prove it if King Kong didn't do it. I grew up listening to The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which was a very famous 70s series of science fiction comedy books, and then it was an TV show, and then like an audio play. I'm not sure what order, but stuff. And to me, they did a remake movie of it with Martin Freeman in the early 2000s, and to me, the one in the Wild Blue Yonder, for anyone that's listening that has watched that Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy movie, anyone else think it looks like, I think his name's Marvin, the depressed robot with the massive head? I really think it looks like him. I remember seeing it and I genuinely had a double take of going, is that Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
I mean, David Tennant has said that Wild Blue Yonder is it's unlike any Doctor Who episode ever.
Yes, we've heard that from him, and we've even other people have hinted at Russell has hinted at that, as he has at nearly everything that could happen, no matter how ridiculous. And then also Rachel Talalay, who was director of a lot of Capaldi episodes, and the upcoming Star Beast episode, even she said it's mental.
Crazy, I mean, it's the one that everyone's looking at. We all look forward to all of them, of course, but we look forward to any Doctor Who episode that's going to be on. But we look forward to this one because we just feel stuff's going to happen in it like we haven't seen.
Well, it's because when the photos first got leaked around summer last year of Catherine Tate and David Tennant filming in Camden, that's all stuff that we can probably guess is going to be in the Star Beast. And then we've seen all the pictures of Neil Patrick Harris filming, and that's going to be the giggle. Even in both the trailers, we've seen a lot of clips from the Star Beast and the Giggle, whereas Wild Blue Yonder, we've seen a bit of the set. David doing some shouting at some blue lights. In comparison to the other episodes, we really know nothing. And I remember Tennant, when he was first talking about the fact he's back for the 60th, before we saw any trailers, I think he said, I think it was at a convention, there's a lot of stuff that we did on sets and in front of green screens that a lot of people have no clue about and a really big surprise and stuff like that. Considering that Wild Blue Yonder looks like sets and looks like just grey walls and stuff like that. It looks, as much as it's got a new budget, as a Doctor Who fan, you could look at it and go and tell, oh yeah, that's a set. That's not an actual location. That's the one that I think is going to have the most shock. So, for example, we're all hoping for more than one Doctor to turn up in the specials. I think if any of them are going to do it, it's Wild Blue Yonder.
Yeah, I think so, and because we're getting this, we're getting the Tales of the Tardis, I think it's called, isn't it? We're getting no, we're not. Yeah, we are. We're getting Sylvester McCoy. We're getting Peter Davison, and we're getting Colin Baker. I think they're the only three Doctors.
Yeah, they're the only three Doctors that are going to be Tales of the Tardis, from what we know.
Yeah, we don't know. They've got some First Doctor people in there, so you might get David Bradley there. I'm not sure. I don't know about that, but for the other Doctors, perhaps they're going to put maybe a Matt Smith in there. The 10th Doctor, like you never know. You never know. Like the 10th Doctor, like they got all the Disney Plus money, so they could have a younger version.
I think I've talked to you about this before when we weren't recording, but I do think it would be both brilliant and horrific if it was a multi-Doctor story, but it was all of Tennant's Doctors. So it was the 10th Doctor, the Meta Crisis, the other 10th Doctor that turned up after that whole Fate Regeneration, and then the 14th Doctor. If that's the case, and it's just 4 different Davids with different editing styles and green screens, it will be hilarious. But I think we'll all quit the show like that.
I mean, people are against it, and like people who don't like David and they think he's overrated, because there are people, which is understandable, I guess, because he loves Doctor Who, and there's a reason why he's back all the time, because he wants to do it.
Yeah.
Like maybe other Doctors, you don't know. We can't say because we don't know what happens, but it would be funny. It would, but I think it's very unlikely. I think potentially you could say the Meta Crisis Doctor could be involved somehow, because that was when Donna and Donna's back. So potentially that. But I don't think the 10th Doctor will. But Matt Smith, I think, is a very high possibility.
Absolutely, it's happening.
Yeah, because I don't know if you've noticed, and I don't know if anyone seeing this today has noticed, but recently, on TikTok, and it was Matt Smith's birthday yesterday or the other day. Well, they shared a video where they Matt Smith's Regeneration, and then it went into Shooty, and then on the description they said, I think Matt Smith and Shooty Gatwa need a good adventure together.
Yes. I have a hunch of a marketing thing they might do. Obviously, we're recording this at the end of October. If this marketing thing has happened or complete contradiction has happened, when you're watching this, we're in the past. Sorry. But considering they've done that, it wouldn't surprise me if we then got a clip of Capaldi talking about the Doctor's coming, something to do with being the Doctor, and then a clip of Shutty, or the same with Geordie or Eccleston. I think if they do that, we'll have to spot one of two things. If they do it for all of the New Who Doctors, they are probably just doing it as a, "Ooh, here he comes" sort of thing. Whereas if they do it with just specific ones, so just a clip of Matt saying something, and then just a clip of Geordie, then we can really sort of assume that, yeah, them two are going to interact with each other.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, because I think the new Who Doctors will be God, I have to like Peter maybe, Jodie maybe. I don't think Chris, but we don't know about that one. But Paul maybe because I think now they've got the three Doctors Who in this Tales of the TARDIS. I think because we've seen the length of the episodes, maybe they're not going to be in the 60th. Maybe this is their part of being in the 60th. Because it is part of being in the 60th. They've said it. They said the 60th anniversary spin-off. So maybe that's them. And we don't know if any other people are going to be in that. We know a couple companions, but Doctor-wise, we don't know if other Doctors are going to be in it. So maybe Paul McGann is going to be involved somehow. And Matt Smith and others. So we just don't know. Like, that's the first thing. Like, we all thought 1st of November, BBC iPlayer was the thing that's happened on 1st of November. Because if we remember, Russell said we have 3 special dates. And 1st of November was the first one. So maybe that was the 1st of November secret. The Tales of the TARDIS.
Yeah. I mean, the only other things that we know are coming are the musical concert that happened. I know you can listen to it on BBC Sounds because they shared the new theme tune, which is brilliant. But we're going to get that as a filmed performance being shown. And then obviously the documentary with David Tennant looking back at the past Doctor Who. But apart from that, we know nothing else. This Tales of TARDIS thing, I can't think of anything that... There might have been some stuff that was sneakily intended to hint at it, but I can't think of any posts on social media previously that have really, gone, this is coming, be ready.
The only other thing that we do know is that we're going to be getting something on Children in Need on the 17th.
Children in Need, yes.
And on the 23rd, we're going to get something else. So we don't know. Like, we're getting a good lot of things anyway with the documentary, with the Tales of the TARDIS, with the musical. And yeah, those 2 other things are a mystery, like Wild Blue Yonder is. But yeah, so we've got 2 other things that's going to be coming. I think the 23rd is going to be the big thing. So maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe to involve all the other Doctors is they're putting them on these 3 special dates. Like on the 17th, you might have some other spin-off thing, like they are with the Tales of the TARDIS. And then on the 23rd, you might have, maybe you've got all the new Who Doctors on the 17th. And then when we get to the 23rd, they all combine together in one kind of, and something, all the Doctors. And then you've got the specials.
That would be brilliant. That would, I quite like that idea. Yeah. I'm not sure how likely that is, considering people's work commitments and stuff like that. But I mean, that would be genius to do. But we have had an announcement today. We are getting something special on the 23rd of November. We are getting at midday on 23rd November, Doctor Who Bargain Hunt special. I'm not joking. It was on Twitter. We're going to get a Bargain Hunt special for Doctor Who. So that's going to be part of the celebrations.
Bargain Hunt special.
I mean, at first I took the piss. I'm not gonna lie, but now thinking about it, it could be interesting to look if it's. I mean, I haven't seen Bargain Hunt, but from what I know of the show, they might be looking at old merchandise from the 70s and 80s and how they worked, or even props and sets that have survived in private collections and stuff like that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but there's so much to look forward to. How the TARDIS. To me, when I first looked at those images, I just thought it was Jodie's TARDIS, but then when I looked at it more, it was totally different.
Yeah, because it's the lighting in the walls; they're quite Jodie, but like I said, there's parts of the room that look a bit like Eccleston's table was, or there was one specific. There's a photo of Colin Baker and Nicola Bryant resting their hands on something that looks absolutely like Matt Smith's Series 5 TARDIS. It looks like a panel from that. It looks a bit like if anybody listening went to the Doctor Who experience when Matt Smith was still the Doctor, and the first room you go in there was just a clutter of stuff and junk, and there was all props and set that clearly they didn't have room for in the museum. Anybody who remembers that when it was in Cardiff, it looks exactly like that room. So it wouldn't surprise me if this is supposed to be like the very depths, the garbage bin
Yeah.
of the TARDIS.
Yeah. Speaking of Doctor Who experience, do you think eventually that will come back?
Absolutely. Because that was the thing with a lot of people criticize showrunners based on the writing and stuff, but I love Russell as a writer. I adore him, not just for Doctor Who, but all of his stuff. But one thing I will massively give him is I don't know whether this was solely him or if there were other parties involved, and with communicating with the BBC and stuff on this, but how much Doctor Who had affected culture. It really was key. It was really specific there was a bit of it in the early Matt Smith era, but when Capaldi joined, it all seemed to fizzle out. But thinking, obviously, we had all the character options figures. There were board games, jigsaws. You had all the spin-offs, Doctor Who Confidential, which as we know now is coming back. There was this. It was really a big institution. It was something quite like what Marvel Plus shows and the new movies and this multiverse idea. It was really quite similar to that. Because I mean, not even just in big scales, but obviously there was the experience. I remember as a kid, this would have been during series 5, Matt Smith's first series, going to a Doctor Who live theatre thing called The Crash of the Elysium in 2010. I remember doing that, and again, that was just to show how big of an institution and culture was that this random group in Manchester could be contacted by the BBC and Matt Smith and Moffat and went, right, let's do this thing with Weeping Angels just to give kids a day out. I know recently in the past couple of years there was the live theatre experience down in London. I forgot what it's called.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, I'm so annoyed I forgot what it's called because I went to it and I adored it. But I know that they've hinted, or at least people I've seen on social media have hinted that that's going to try and reopen somewhere around, maybe a bit further north, around places like Manchester, stuff like that, big cities. So it really would surprise me if Russell didn't take advantage of him coming back. I don't think he's just come back to be, I've had a couple ideas in the bottom drawer while I've been gone. I think he's also had that urge to really bring that boom back that was there when, Eccleston to Smith was on board.
Yeah, I agree. I think that we've got lots of things now, like lots have changed, even from last era to this era, like from Jodie to, I could say David Tennant or Shooty.
Yeah.
But yeah, lots have changed. Again, like it always does. Every new Doctor, something's going to change. But we have had a few things, but I would love the Doctor experience. Last time I went was with Matt Smith. It was when they done it in London.
Yeah.
They done one in London and they did one in Cardiff. So I went to one in London, which I assume they're probably the same, just in different parts. But you get to go into Tardis and everything. I think it's great, and I think Russell will bring that back eventually. Probably not maybe till, I'd say 2025 perhaps. Maybe. Who knows? He might want to do that soon. But as we know, Series 15 is being filmed at the moment, and I saw today that Ncuti Gatwa has a new costume, another new costume for Series 15. So
another new costume. Yes, I follow an account on Twitter called DWSR. I believe it's what it's called. It's Doctor Who Locations account. I love his work. I think he must live around Cardiff to be able to spot all these things. But I mean, along with Ncuti's costume today, they're filming at this big manor house and a university that's all been decorated to look like a World War training camp. And there's people in period costumes and old military outfits and stuff like that. So it's to show again that that the filming is steady. That there's a lot that it's back in that regular churn. I still remember the horror in 2015 watching The Husbands of River Song, going, I can't wait to see what's next, and then being announced that no Doctor Who in 2016. None. Sorry, you might get Chris Special end of the year, and we got Return Doctor Mysterio, but still I remember the absolute horror of there being no Doctor Who. And obviously Jodie had a similar issue with COVID. Filming slowed down for every company across the globe because of COVID, which I think is a really a big shame. not just for media in general, but for her era. We really could have seen some more with her. But it's nice to see that this is really starting to get into a nice steady flow. I mean, what was it? Literally a month or two ago, it was posted that Shutty was done for series 14, and now straight away, no, back to Cardiff. It's really exciting that we're getting stuff this regular.
Yes, it's crazy that we haven't seen anything. Well, I don't know. I don't know. We can say like the spin-off like in the coming days. But I suppose that counts. But I mean like the actual Doctor Who episodes, like from Doctor Who, like the show, not spin-off. But I think it's good we're getting spin-offs again. Like that's probably the second spin-off we know about: Doctor Who Unleashed and Doctor Who Confidential, and then we'll
Yeah.
probably I think they're gonna gradually start and bringing in all these good stuff in because
Yeah.
I think it's great, and like I think it's so awesome now. Like Doctor Who is back where it was, but and even better now. And I think this new era is just gonna be awesome. Much different with the budget, but
Yeah.
I'm glad we've got that budget because we'll have more time to do other things. Like if we didn't have the budget, maybe they wouldn't have the money to do more than like a season when the previous season hasn't been shown on telly yet.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of which, it is an absolute shame that doctors like Capaldi and Jodie weren't given the same sort of boom as the previous New Who ones. Because I mean, whatever. I know they're not controversial, not the word, but I know their stories. A lot of their episodes aren't very loved by a lot of Doctor Who fans for whatever reason. But it is, regardless what I think of their doctors, or stories, it is a shame that they didn't get the same boom because there were brilliant actors. Their performances were always top notch, and I mean, seeing the few clips of times when Jodie went to schools in her costume, or there was a time when Capaldi invaded the Doctor experience in full costume, not going there as Pete Capaldi, but going there as Doctor Who for the kids. They're on school trips and stuff. It's a shame they didn't get the same chance that the others did. But there was something I read somewhere that someone had written just after the revival had come back, who had been a fan through the wilderness years, a struggling fan, as all were through the wilderness years, which is it's better to have bad Doctor Who than no Doctor Who at all.
Yes.
So at least we've got a budget, a better budget, I should say now, to really give the show back some of that spark and hopefully get it back into the public eye.
But as we know, when we watch the new episodes, people are going to complain. There's people out there who complain about anything, in the community, which it's a shame. It is a shame, and but that's like every community.
Absolutely.
But the Doctor Who community is very special in the way how it's good. It always involves Doctor Who always creates something new, bring back people after years. Like I don't know, bring back River Song, like they've done numerous of times, and they like doing that. And I think this new era show people what they can do, show people they can create new characters that are memorable for the next 20 years.
Exactly.
Because that's where it all started. Like it's great. It's going to be good, and I think we're so lucky to have Russell back for however long he's going to be there. Not sure how much shoot he's going to be long there either, but at this moment in time, just keep the Doctor there for a little while longer before we move on.
Yeah, well, that's the thing with it, is that Doctor Who, whether people have been unhappy with the TV episodes or whatever, or will be unhappy with the TV episodes, there's always some faction of media from this show that you're going to enjoy, whether it's the Target novelization books, often written by previous episode writers and showrunners, or the astounding work done by Big Finish. I mean, for the 60th, they've been doing, I haven't listened to it unfortunately yet as of recording, but they've been doing a whole audio series for the 60th, each episode with different doctors and characters coming back. I mean, as far as I can say of recording. The most recent one has Paul McGann, Tom Baker, Carol Ann Ford as Susan, River's Song, and then in between that there's doctors like David Tennant bleeding through, amazing actors portraying the first three, Hartnell, Troughton, and Pertwee, who unfortunately are no longer with us.
Yeah.
And even Jacob Dudman, who's been doing Doctor impersonations for what feels like forever, as Matt Smith, number 11. So every fandom has something that they're unhappy about. You know, Star Wars the same, Marvel's the same, video games, and everything is the same and always has been. But Doctor Who is something that has always been there in some form and will always be there in some form to give the specific fan what they want. Because I mean, I can't speak for you, but there is something I can probably imagine that you love, whether it's Doctor Who or not, and there's one specific thing about it that just wasn't what you were hoping for or expected. I kind of prefer it was done like this, but there'll be a book done for Doctor Who that's done it, or an audio drama or a fan film or whatever that's done what you would like to see within this world.
Is there something that you wish to hope, like in your experience with watching Doctor Who, is there something that you wanted to happen but didn't?
Ooh. I try and do my best to keep my opinions off the internet, but I'm going to say one that is a bit controversial. Here we go. This could end my place. This could ruin my place in the fandom. I'm going to say one word, and already people listening are going to go, what? But stay with me. So Thasmin, the recent Doctor companion romance, I thought was great. I thought it really fitted the characters. I thought it was very good. But he did it too late. As in, sure, the whole Tennant and Rose thing was done in the last episode for dramatic purposes, but was cleared up in series 4, the Metacry, stuff like that. And obviously, for all I know, Chibnall could do this, or whoever is next could do this. But obviously, there were little hints and bleedings of it there, as there were with any other Doctor companion relationship or romantic interest. But Legend of the Sea Devils happened, and those scenes were explicit. They said perfectly, there is a romance here, and I was like, brilliant, absolutely yes. How many episodes are left? 1. Shit. And I was gutted that it was all revealed and done like that. And that's nothing against Chibnall as a writer or the actors or anyone like that, but that's the one thing that I really hope can be seen more of, because I was really, really excited for that. I really like those characters, and I was really intrigued by the relationship that could have been. Yeah. And I'm just sick of the Doctor having really miserable romances. Rose didn't work out. Madame de Pompadour didn't work out. Nurse Redfern didn't work out. Tennant had a lot of romances.
He did. Like, I completely understand what you're saying, because it was right. It's too late. It didn't make sense in the end, because why was you? How could Dan spot that? I didn't. But yeah, for me, it was actually Madame de Pompadour not traveling with the Doctor. I would love to have seen Madame de Pompadour and Rose and traveling with the Doctor. I think that would have been really nice. But this is in a way a controversial episode for some people who really like Rose and everything, because on their sense they think, hang on a minute, the Doctor has left Rose and he wants to go off with Madame de Pompadour, who he's only met for 5 seconds. So that's one side of the story. But the other side of the story, that the reason I like the episode is because they have everything in a Doctor episode you want. You have love, you have regret, you have sadness, you have all of it in it. And probably all of us didn't expect that was going to be the ending in the episode. But yeah, I would have wished that would have been a bit differently. I'm
quite similar, as in, it's an episode that I do quite enjoy. For the same reason of, I think, the story, the traveling, one area of the story being millions of years in the future and 1 million years in the past, and them constantly contradicting and conflicting with each other because of the fireplace and stuff like that. But I do agree with the side of the fandom that's a bit like, hang on, you've just met this lass, and yet you've been flirting with Rose Tyler for like a whole series now. I do think that if the Ninth Doctor could speak to the 10th, he'd slap him. He'd slap him for doing that, because a lot of people, I know some, not a lot, I know some people say that the romance was only visible with Ten and Rose. No, I mean, even Eccleston himself in a clip from Mastermind to do with Doctor Who, he was asked, does the Doctor have a crush on Rose Tyler? And Eccleston says, absolutely. I think it's always been there.
Definitely.
But I mean, even for example, I'm someone that this is a bit contradictory, I think is the word, to my comments on Thasmin, but I absolutely am convinced that Peter Capaldi's Doctor and Clara Oswald were in love with each other. I absolutely believe that, just from facial expressions and glances and stuff like that, and just little lines. I do absolutely look at it. I mean, one of Capaldi's first lines as he's fully in the costume is, "Clara, I'm not your boyfriend." She says, I never thought you were. And he says, I never said it was your mistake. Stuff like that. Which, is quite contradictory. But I just want a bit like that Red Nose Day one, The Curse of Fatal Death, with Mr. Bean as the Doctor. I just want the Doctor to settle down for once and have a nice marriage, whether it's with a companion or the Master. I don't care. I just want the Doctor to be happy in terms of romance, because even River Song was the closest we got, and even that's still heartbreaking.
Yeah, and I don't think anything's gonna be. Don't think we're gonna get any Lanya down to 60th, unfortunately. I felt it's going to continue.
Yeah.
It's going to continue. But I guess speaking of the 60th, the last couple of things, Ethan. What do you want to happen in the 60th? And what do you want someone to return that hasn't been announced yet?
In terms of what I want, I really do hope. I'm beyond happy the Tennant is back as 14, but I do hope we get a reason as to why it's that face. I mean, we've had hints of it before. Like the curator in the 50th, Tom Baker, says you might find yourself visiting a few, but just the old favourites. But even the Doctor himself is confused why it's Tennant's face, which doesn't make me think that this Doctor is picked to look like him. I think the most obvious answer is the Toymaker's done some meddling. I remember seeing a theory on Twitter months and months and months ago when we were first speculating that Neil Patrick Harris was the Toymaker, that the Toymaker is going to be commentary on fandoms that want things to stay specific. And that's why it's David Tennant's face and Donna Noble and stuff like that. It's something along those lines I think would be really interesting. But in terms of what I want deep down, I really want Ncuti Gatwa to get a really good shot. I don't want it to just be gets 2 scenes and all of a sudden, oh, he's fully fledged. Here we go, new season. I want him to be seen just as much as Tennant does, and I think he will, because the 2 clips of him in the trailer, they look like very green screen backgrounds. And we were even told that the grey background from his first clip, we were told that's fake from what we're actually going to see. I think he's going to be in the Guardians of the Edge location that we saw in Power of the Doctor, with other incarnations saying, well, it's your go now, what's going wrong? So I really hope that he gets to be just as much of the Doctor as Tennant does, because obviously Tennant is one of the best actors in the country, and will absolutely do a fantastic job. But I don't want Ncuti Gatwa to be left behind. In terms of who I want back, obviously the 9th Doctor was my Doctor, and my personal favourite Doctor. And I know it's insanely unlikely, but if we could have 5 seconds of new Eccleston footage that's actually him, I will have a happy breakdown. If such a thing exists, I will sob, I will weep, I will pray. But there is another very, very specific, and I don't care how stupid this sounds, character. As I've already hinted, Big Finish. I'm a very big Finish fan. Had my whole life, and considering that we're starting to get some comic characters such as Beep the Meep and the Wrath Warriors in the 60th, please bring Frobisher. Please bring the talking, shape-shifting penguin. Please do it. Like I know it's highly unlikely, but yeah. I'm not just saying to try and be original, because obviously there are loads of classic companions and even New Who characters that I would love to turn up. But for a brand new, if they bring back Frobisher,
Yeah.
genius.
Russell have put some penguin emojis over the months, so you don't know. Like another comic character, I think would do great, because it's like you're bringing new people in, but hasn't really been in Doctor Who yet, so it's great. And I would love to see Eccleston some new footage. If we are, I don't think. I saw a recent interview. He was asked, "Are you looking forward to the 60th?" And he was asked, "Are you going to watch it?" And his response was, "I never really thought about it, but I don't know. I don't know, but it would be nice. It'd be nice. But who knows? Who knows? But thank you, Ethan, for coming
It's been a
on
pleasure. It's been a
again.
pleasure. I love doing these, and I hope we get to do more.
Yeah, I know we're gonna do another one, aren't we? After to kind of review, I guess the what's it called again? The thing that's coming out in 2 days.
The Tales of the Tardis.
Yeah, the Tales of the Tardis. Forgot it already. But yeah, we're going to review that. In this, which will go out toward the end of this series. But
Yeah,
it was all good fun. But this episode, if you're listening to it, is in November. So, for us, we're about to go into November. Halloween
yes.
Halloween tomorrow as we record this. So, don't say say anything to us, because we're speaking in the past or your future. Okay.
Exactly.
But yeah, thank you to Ethan. Thank you to anyone listening, watching, and we hope you enjoy it. And we'll see you in the next episode.
See you around.